Hi. The first part of this message is for the coward who phoned in the death threat. I don't know if you're the judge or one of the defendants or just somebody who works for them. But I've considered your offer. I've thought a lot about whether or not my life is worth exposing one corrupt judge or making sure the guests are safe in your hotel rooms. I think maybe no. Not for this. Then again, I don't know how I could live with myself if I don't do what I know is right just because you made me a little afraid. So, I'm going to file the brief. I'm not going to quit. But neither am I a fool. Come to the conclusion that if the evidence I have is so valuable you would kill me to keep it quiet, what could you do if everybody knew? I'm thinking I'll be a lot safer if everybody knows what I know. So the second part of this message is for everyone else to share with everybody you know, please. I'm going to lay out all the evidence, the recordings, the videos, the emails, the forgeries. Please share it with everyone you know. I'm hoping this will keep me alive. Let me bring you up to speed on what got us here. 2 years ago, I stayed at Choice Hotels International Comfort Inn and Suites in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, this Comfort Inn and Suites had a self-serve waffle iron. Anybody who knows me knows exactly where I'm going with this. Yes, I burned myself on the self-serve waffle iron trying to make myself a waffle, which is par for the course. If there's a knife or a small appliance around, I'm getting injured. But that's because I'm a klutz. Now, suing somebody because I'm a klutz is insane. It would be like me suing the curling iron company because I burned myself with their product 2 weeks ago. I'm a klutz, so that's no reason to sue anybody. However, what they did next was unbelievable. They had their driver take me to their doctor, and their doctor gave me a shot. I don't know what she gave me, but I don't remember pretty much anything for the next 24 hours. Now, I know that they got me back to the hotel and they locked me in my room. Now, at some point during the night, I was sick and I thought I was dying. So I tried to call 911. I couldn't get out of the room and 911 was blocked. Any call outside in that room was blocked. I couldn't get a hold of anybody. So I called the front desk, I guess. I remember that. He told me that's not my problem. I begged him to call an ambulance. He told me that's not our problem. I can't even begin to tell you how terrifying that was. To be locked in that room all night long and couldn't call anybody. I couldn't move. I didn't know if I was going to make it through the night. I have no idea. Mostly, though, I thought, if this were my daughter or my mother or my grandmother or I can't even I don't scare very easily, but that night was terrible. And I have spent the last 2 years trying to get them to fix their phones and implement a guest safety policy. That's what all this has been about for the last 2 years. Now, there's also a law called Carey's Law. It was passed in Congress in 2017. And this law is because Carey Dunn was murdered in her hotel room while her daughter tried to dial 911, but the outside call was blocked. So they passed a law called Carey's Law that says from now on, all hotel rooms have to have immediate outside access for all 911 calls. It's the law. But they don't want to do it. Now, I tried for months. Letters, faxes, emails, phone calls. You name it, I tried it. And I'm really, really good at getting hold of people. Better than most. But I couldn't get anywhere. Here's what they had to say.
It's a choice.
That's all we can do. We cannot guarantee the hotel payment.
So it's irrelevant to you that I was locked in a room, that I nearly died in this room, that they blocked my outside call on purpose so that I could not call 911, and left me here to die? I mean, that doesn't, but you want me to make sure that I pay them for that? I mean, is that exactly what you're telling me?
Michelle, what you're not understanding is, what the hotel wants is for there to be guaranteed payment. We cannot guarantee them that. I cannot go and put my credit card on your account so that they can go ahead and authorize the stay.
Tawanda, the money is the only thing you want to talk about. That the money is the only issue you care about. You've not. I mean,
we're not getting anywhere, and I do apologize.
You just keep saying that I need to pay them for mistreating me. What are you going to do about this? What about the next elderly woman who comes into this hotel and something similar happens to her? Do you care?
Have you contacted their corporate office?
Do what?
To file a complaint.
So I'm trying to understand what it is I can do for you based on the letter that you sent.
Did you read the letter?
I did.
So it's pretty clear. Basically, I want to know what your policies and procedures are for caring for injured and ill people.
We don't have a policy or procedure around that.
So you have no policy or procedure for anyone who is injured or becomes ill in your hotels, as far as
Correct.
None, zip, zero, nada.
Correct.
Isn't the hotel industry hospitality? Or is it just getting them in and out?
And yes, absolutely. It all is oriented around hospitality. But I think I'd explain, I think that the hotel did act in a very hospitable way by taking you to urgent care, by taking you to the Publix. I don't know the details of your relationship with the hotel and what may have happened since then or before that to explain why they acted in the way that they did. But I think that there's a lot of extenuating circumstances here that we've already touched on.
No, not a lot. Just one. The only extenuating circumstance you've mentioned is the fact that they haven't been paid. That's it.
Right. That seems to be a pretty significant extenuating circumstance.
Okay. So their mistreatment of me is somehow validated by their frustration over not getting paid.
I'm not suggesting that they mistreated you. You're suggesting that.
Why are you calling me? That isn't what I asked for.
Because you sent a letter to our lawyer.
I want to talk to you about your policy for safety. That's all I want to talk to you about.
And we don't have a policy around safety, we are not the owner or operator of the hotel. All property safety related issues are left to the operators of the hotel to address.
Okay.
Hotels are required to comply with all state, local, and federal laws.
And that's
but
it?
Choice does not dictate specific safety protocols for the hotels to follow.
So let me see if I get this straight. You sell them a franchise based on your reputation, and you sell that reputation to the public using your name, Choice Hotels, and people rent hotels based on your reputation. But what we're really doing is renting a hotel from some guy like this one, the owner, Devon Shaw, and you really don't care what he does or how he does it, as long as he pays you his franchise fees.
No, that's not the case at all.
Kind of sounds like it.
I'm sorry?
Okay, enlighten me.
Well, there are a number of rules and regulations that the franchisee is required to comply with in order to meet brand standards. Choice is not in a position to dictate brand standards around life safety issues because we are not in each particular hotel market. We don't know what the local rules and regulations or codes are that may be applicable. So we leave that up to the hotel.
And you have absolutely, positively no safety measures set in place for any of your franchises on how to care for your customers.
It is a locally owned and operated business that has a franchise flag from Choice. They are required to comply with all local, state, and federal laws in connection with safety, but we do not dictate to them specific safety protocols.
But you do realize, don't you, that people, especially single women like myself, choose these hotels specifically because they are a chain. If we wanted to stay at a mom and pop store, we'd pull into some $32, paying cash hotel. But we choose these hotels, me and the thousands and thousands of other women who travel year round. We choose these hotels because of the name brand, because we assume there is I guess it's a bad assumption, isn't it? That we assume that there's a level of stability and safety in these hotels when they are no more safe than the local rundown hotel because they're just owned by whomever, and as long as they're kept clean and up to code, that's all you care about, right?
Well, I think your expectation when you stay at a hotel is that the hotel meets certain brand standards. I think there's a baseline expectation that you'll have a safe stay at any hotel, but I don't know the details of what happened with the phone at this point to make an assessment one way or the other. I honestly don't know. I mean, I could call the hotel and they could say that, you just weren't using the phone properly. I have no idea.
Let me ask you a question. Let me just off the wall question here, okay? If this happened to your mother, how would you feel about that? Would you be like, Mom, you're a dummy? Or would you be talking to the manager of the hotel, standing up for your mother?
I haven't, first of all, I haven't said that you're a dummy.
Well,
Second of all,
that's kind of the treatment I'm getting from everybody is like, hey, you're the dumbass,
Second of all, I already said that I would contact the hotel and talk to them once I get off the phone with you. And third, I think that some of the issue is that we initially started off this conversation with this credibility gap where I explained to you we had already received word about your complaint from somebody who was impersonating someone from Fox News. So that's the structure I was dealing with at the outset of the call, was that someone was, on your behalf, attempting to appear to be somebody that they weren't.
Nobody even knows I'm here except my daughter. And she doesn't know anybody. I don't even know what you're talking about here. I have no idea what you're talking about. I have pages and pages and pages of numbers here that I've tried to call your office, and I can't get a number for Devon Shaw. It is,
Right.
I have called this where is it? I've been on hold with your customer service department over and over and over again. And every single time I'm told they can do nothing. I've left messages with Byron and the front desk, and you can ask them over 24 messages that I wanted to speak to the owner of this hotel.
Right, and we can't make the owner contact you, and we're not in a position to give out the owner's phone number.
All right. Well, there's got to be somebody a person can talk to that, other than customer service who does nothing. I don't even think they're in this country, to be honest with you. They don't.
Not sure why that's relevant, but you're talking to someone right now.
I am, but do you know what it took for me to get you to call me? Do you have any idea? Imagine some woman, my same age, 50s, 60s, in a hotel by herself, but she doesn't have the contacts that I have. She doesn't have the ability to understand how to get a hold of people the way that I do. What does she do? Does she just sort of suck it up and get the hell out of the hotel and sleep in her car in the parking lot? I mean, what is she supposed to do? Who does she call? That's what I want to know. Who does she call? Because your customer service doesn't do anything.
I think that the result that you've gotten is a result of what you're asking for. If you want us to make a complaint against the hotel, which I think you did, it's been lodged and the hotel can respond. What you're asking for is to talk to the owner of the hotel or to a senior executive, and sometimes that just takes a lot of time.
So nothing's going to happen to the hotel?
I will talk with them. I don't know if anything will happen to them or not until I talk with them, but I don't really think that that's,
You don't think what? It's any of my business? Is that what you're going to say?
I'm not going to report back to you if the hotel has a problem with their phones, and they'll be required to fix it.
Are you kidding me? That's it? You're going to talk to them about their phone line? That's it?
Oh no! The rest of your complaint will be passed on to the hotel.
For the hotel to deal with?
Yes.
So you're going to give the hotel you're just going to let them police themselves, right?
They have an obligation to respond to all guest complaints.
And that's your safety and security policy?
No, that's the guest complaint policy.
That's the guest complaint calls? And that's a policy of yours?
Yes.
Okay. What was your name again?
My first name is Stewart. My last name is Kreindler.
And you are what exactly?
I am Vice President and Assistant General Counsel for the company.
Okay. So, here's what we've gotten so far. Basically, there's nothing you can do for me. You will talk to them about the phone lines, and then you're going to pass the complaint on to them for them to deal with internally.
No, we'll pass the complaint on for them to respond to.
To respond to who?
To you.
And if they don't respond to me, what happens then?
If they don't respond, there's a protocol in place for them to, they have an obligation to respond.
They have an obligation to respond.
Yes.
So that's a policy? They have an obligation to respond?
Yes.
When did they have an obligation? How long can they take before they respond? Is there a time limit?
I don't recall offhand. I'm happy to look it up if you give me a minute.
Okay.
ChoiceHotels.com to join our more than 25 million Choice Privileges members and enjoy rewards from the everyday to the exceptional, starting right when you join. Remember,
I don't understand what kind of resolution you're looking for.
Well, actually, you're just filling me in on the fact that there just is absolutely no way to resolve this. That's exactly what you're telling me. There is no way to resolve this. It's a lose-lose.
Miss Bright.
Yeah?
You complained about a event that happened. I promised that I would call them and try and find out what happened with the phone.
Okay, thanks for the promise, but I don't know you, and the fact that you're a lawyer doesn't make me very confident that that's going to happen. Nothing personal, but
That's fine. Can I finish? I think I've not interrupted you.
you're right. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
So once I call them and I find out what happened, and if they say, oh, the phone was broken in her room, it wasn't working, we're very sorry about that, we will send her a note of apology. What are you looking for? What do you want to resolve this?
Day one, I was scared. I hate to admit that because I'm not one who does. But you know what? When a single woman is away from home and she goes through the kind of situation that I went through, I mean, it doesn't hurt to give a little sympathy or to check on them, to be kind. I mean, what?
Okay, but those are all things in the past, and the hotel may very well express their apology. Is that what you're looking for? Is it an apology, or is there something else that you're seeking? And I'm just trying to understand so that I can frame it to the hotel as this guest had a negative experience. This was her experience. This is what she's looking for. I'm trying to understand what that is.
Yes, I do want something else, and I put it in the letter. You've said you've read it. Apparently, you do not have a policy at all for the safety and security of women in your hotel. You do not have a policy, and I want one. I want a policy for that.
That's not going to happen. Our policies are not changing.
How about a resolution policy? A way to get a resolution resolved without going through your customer service, which apparently it doesn't do anything.
That's not going to change either.
So after that, I had no recourse but to file a case in a court of law and make them do it, which is what I've been trying to do. The first case I filed in Georgia because that's where it took place. And get this. Now, you're not going to believe this. Whether you're a lawyer or not, you are not going to believe this. In the first case, the judge ordered his staff to perfect service on the defendants. What that means is his staff served the subpoena on the defendants to let them know that there was a case pending in court against them. His staff put together the papers, the mailings, the addresses, everything was put together by the judge's staff per the judge's order. Now, the staff does this all the time, and they know better than anybody what is procedure to serve somebody and to have service recognized by the court of law. They know this because they do it day in and day out. They are the guardians of procedure, let's say. Okay, I get this. Once the defendants got on board, they claimed that they had never been served. This judge, the very same judge who served them, whose staff, whose clerks served the defendants per his orders. And this is all they do day in and day out. He declared that they were in fact not served. Okay. So he tells me, try again. So I send a formal request that the defendants waive service, which means that in essence, they accept, yeah, you've got us, okay? There's a lot of technical details to it, but the basic part of requesting waiver of service is that the defendant cannot decline. the defendant has to accept waiver of service, or the court will not only impose sanctions on them, but declare them served. It's the law. It's basic what I'm saying here, but it's the law. After this, the judge still came back and said, nope, try again. Let me ask you this. If the judge doesn't consider his own staff service as proper, and he will not declare them served once they've been requested to waive service, what am I going to do? So I withdrew that case, though it was going nowhere. Now, at the time, I thought it was just a bad judge, you know? Maybe not. Have you ever heard the saying, I've never encountered a situation that I couldn't buy my way out of? Oh, that's what these companies do today. They bury everything. They pay you off and tell you to shut up and go away and never speak of it again. I'm certain I'm not the first person to ask them to do this. I'm probably just the first person that didn't accept the $8 million they offered, which my family thinks I'm crazy. And considering my current situation, I don't know. Maybe I do think about it a little bit. But in my defense, let's say I did take the money and I just shut up about it and went away, okay? And then some poor woman checks into one of their hotels. She's sleeping. A man breaks into her room. He's going to rape her and stab her to death. But she manages to call 911 from the phone by her bed. But it's blocked. So he rapes her and stabs her to death. Now, how am I supposed to enjoy my luxury living knowing that I let that happen? I can't do that. So I filed the second case. This time I filed it in federal court, and they were served by the U.S. Marshal Service, so I think we got that problem covered. Now, they did file a motion to dismiss based on venue, but that's really not a problem. And the case was going along perfectly normal. And I was very, very excited. I thought this time we're going to get them to just fix the phones and implement a guest safety policy. I'm not asking you to do anything the law does not require you to do. Anyway, the case was going along normally. They filed for a motion to dismiss based on venue. Now, for anybody out there who knows what venue is, venue was created basically to protect poor people from rich people. Because rich people used to win their cases by filing in another state where a poor defendant didn't have the finances to get to that state. So they created venue. And then, yes, it does protect them as well, rich or poor. However, these defendants, their net worth is in the trillions. They have homes all over the world. They own hotels in every city, in every state in this country. They have jets and yachts, and they travel for pleasure, for business on a regular basis. Also, they themselves submitted in an affidavit a list of common names that they use. Now, Choice Hotels International has about 150 different names that it uses. They did, in an affidavit, submit about a dozen of them. Just under those common names, they have not only sued and been sued in this district, but they themselves have established residency in this district. So venue is not a problem. It's for everything. It was going exactly as it should. Then the defendants lied on their affidavit for Rule 7.1. Now, Rule 7.1 is there to ensure that there's no financial connection between the judge and the defendants. Now, you need to know this about businesses. Businesses have the same legal standing as a person, as you or I. Basically, why they gave them that is so they could take out loans, claim tax exemptions, sue or be sued, or buy stock. But it was never intended for what the defendants use it for. Choice Hotels International is a publicly traded company. But the defendants have figured out how to retain control of the company without anybody knowing about it. They buy it under fake alias names. One of the defendants, at least one of the defendants, has several businesses that own stock in Choice Hotels International coming to his penthouse address. Now, these businesses don't make anything, they don't sell anything, but they own stock in the company, and they come to his penthouse address. Let's say your Uncle Joe was getting welfare, and he wanted more welfare. So he made up 5 names and had them all receiving welfare checks, and all the checks were coming to his address. He's going to go to jail. But these defendants have just figured out how to use a loophole. I wanted clarification, so I requested a hearing. After I requested a hearing, the judge's chambers shut me out completely. Then they began advising the defendants of what and when to file. On January 9th, 2019, at 6:45 a.m., I sent this email to the judge. 4 hours later, the judge dismissed the case, closed it so nothing else could be filed, and backdated everything to the previous day, January 8th, so that it was all done before I asked him to recuse himself. However, filing stamps don't lie. The only thing left for me to do at this point was to file an appeal, which I did. On January 15th, I filed an appeal to reverse the judge's order and send the case back down for trial. On January 23rd, when the case was accepted by the appellate court, a man called me and told me that if I didn't drop the appeal, I wouldn't live long enough to file the brief. Now, normally, well, I can't say normally, it's never happened, but I probably would have let it go. I probably would have just, chalked it up to, yeah, I'm getting to him. But then he asked me why I didn't finish my sundae. I happened to be sitting in a Dairy Queen, well, in my car outside a Dairy Queen, with the sundae that I didn't finish sitting on my dashboard. I freaked out. I drove away to a place and called the police. The footage you've been watching is the only coverage available for where the police officer met me because their station was closed. If anyone has access to better coverage, please let me know. It goes on for well over 20 minutes of me trying to report someone threatening my life. When he pulled up, he already knew who I was and why I had called. He crossed his arms in front of him and just kept asking me over and over again, when was the last time I slept? I was a little confused by that, and I kept wondering if I had bags under my eyes or something. But I kept trying to explain to him what had happened. I tried to give him the phone that the person had called in on, but he wouldn't take the phone, much less look at it. Finally, he just said, get a good night's sleep and see how I felt about it in the morning. He gave me his card and have a nice evening, ma'am, and he left. I don't know what he expects me to do with the card. Give it to the hitman when he finds me?
So, I don't know what to do next except file this brief. But I really, really hope to be able to go home and see my daughter again. What I've shown you is just some of the evidence and a condensed version of hours of audio. I didn't think you'd watch this if it went on for hours. You can help by sharing this with everyone you know. I'm hoping the more people who know, the safer I am. Please, please, help me finish this fight. It affects all of us.